GCSS-Army maintenance helpful tip and video. And today we're actually going to continue our series on AOAP with part 2, talking about the CMDP checklist and how to actually set your unit and yourself up for success. Alright, so without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Alright, so here we go. AOAP, CMDP checks 1 through 7, right? So this is just the overview of the actual checklist. There's 7 checks. Normally you can get 35 points. A lot of us don't have AOAP, but there are certain things that we do have to have in our SOP. It has to be mentioned. Even though we don't have an active AOAP program, we can still get as many points as possible when it comes to this, all right? So let's start with check 1. It says unit will establish an AOAP program where appropriate, right? So AR 750-1, paragraph 8-2. So things to verify during this check or setting yourself up for success. Do you have a program built? Are appointment orders on file? Is it mentioned in your SOP, right? So in 750-1, paragraph 8-2, the objective of the AOAP are to improve operational readiness of Army equipment, enhance safety, detect pending equipment failures, right? So AOAP's daily operation and capabilities will be executed between the laboratory and the customer unit. Field maintenance units must promote and recommended by the AOAP to the highest extent possible, right? So what they're saying there is if they send you back recommendations, we need to listen to this, right? So some of the things the AOAP looks for is, lubricants, contaminants, abrasive wear, metal shavings, things like that. All the stuff that can affect the equipment and the way it runs. So 750-1 paragraph 8 continues to go on, right? So there's certain things that we must ensure we do. Ensure our units incorporate AOAP process and local SOPs. What that's saying is we have to have an SOP, right? So we need to make sure that we are looking at 750-1 and it's part of one of the mandatory topics that we have to mention in our SOPs. So here is just continuing talking. Owning units and maintenance activities will provide maintenance feedback to AOT labs within 24 hours to identify inspection findings. So this is one area that we failed to do. With GRM, you can actually transmit your data, and when you go in and actually build your notifications, and when you receive your results back, you can put all that stuff in that notification before you actually close it out. We're going to do that. Check 2, right? So units will assign and train an AOAP monitor. So you can look at 750-1 with this, or TB 43-0211, paragraph 2-1. So things to verify. Are they trained? Are certs on file? What about sustainment training for maintenance and operators? Now I know that's not part of the CMDP check, but that's one way to ensure that you're properly managing your program, right? So there's nothing wrong with doing sustainment training for mechanics and operators when it comes to taking AOAP samples, right? And put it on DTMS. The more stuff you have on DTMS, the more you can protect the mechanics and the operators when it comes to maintenance, right? Because we all know that everybody wants to train, but we don't look at the maintenance aspect of that. TB 43-0211, right? So commanders, right? So as a commander, you must implement an AOAP program. You need to ensure 100% pieces of equipment are enrolled, right? Appoint a AOAP monitor to administrate, control, and establish unit AOAP training objectives within your command. Ensure subordinate units appoint an AOAP monitor, right? So battalion commanders will appoint the primary and alternate monitors of the program. So I know, we're in the FSC, so yes, you have your units AOAP monitors, but you do require battalion AOAP monitors as well. So another section here, right? Now this is kind of overlooked, but after completing AOAP training, unit AOAP monitors will annotate in section 3 of the DA form 348 with satisfactory completed AOAP sampler training and sign 348, right? So you actually do put this on your 348. So a couple ways to get the training here. Like I do OHMS. You can do OHMS training. You got 3 different types of training you can do here. It's pretty easy. For example, non-aeronautical AOAP training. These are all the things that you will learn inside this class here. You can also go through LDAC and LIW, and you can do AOAP training here as well. I'm not sure if this link actually works anymore, but I do know that the ALMS link, all you gotta do is type in AOAP monitor or AOAP, and it will pull up for you. So let's talk about DTMS training examples, right? So as you see, I got a star here, but AOAP monitor training fundamentals, right? So it's on our training calendar as when we're actually going to train FSD mechanics, equipment operators, and how to properly do AOAP sampling. So keep that in mind. There's an example of appointment orders. All right, so like I said, appointment orders is pretty self-explanatory. Everything we do in the motor pool or in the Army requires appointment orders, right? Check 3, oil samples will be taken as required, so things are verified or samples taken on time. Does the SOP go over AOAP standards? Are there any overdue samples? So TB 430211. So this all talks about routine sampling, special sampling, prior to oil change, what you need to do immediately, prior to performing maintenance on enrolled components. Anytime we remove a component, we're supposed to tag it and actually say that it's part of the AOAP program, which I think we failed to do, right? So this is just an example, all right? So LIW or ILIP, whatever, it contains a specific interval for each component. Samples should be taken near to described intervals as possible, right? So you will get all that when you actually go into RCOP and when your samplings are actually due. Let's just going further into it. Check 4, your DA Form 2408-20 or printouts will be maintained for all equipment required AOAP samples taken. So you can look in DAPM 750-8, paragraph 4, or GCSS-Army I Whiskey 28 notification type 01, and main work center will show you all open and closed AOAP DA Form 5991 echoes, right? So things are verified during this check. Are AOAP records kept in accordance with ARMS? Are there historical records of AOAP samples? Does the system of records show open and closed AOAP samples, right? So here's 750-8, just talks a little, go into the policy limits unnecessary changes of component oil based on hours, miles, and calendar days as currently prescribed by TMs and LOs, right? So we need to use the AOAP program to our advantage. So it will actually help speed up services and so forth. We don't have to change the oil and save the money, especially with the resources. Again, just talking about description, oil, hydraulic fluid, grease analysis. Resampling is sample. Designated equipment components that are enrolled, right? Contamination is a problem that most frequently affects sample integrity. Where metal, water, unusual color, and particulate matter are indicated of contaminations. So, like I said, this program is here to assist us with maintaining the readiness of our equipment. So DAPM 750-8, it's going to talk about what to sample, when to sample, talk about the maintenance feedbacks, right? So, like I said, you look in here, it's going to tell you exactly your intervals and stuff like that when you actually have to sample. So when we're looking at the DA Form 26 or the 5991 results, basically we see these, but I don't think we ever act on it, right? So we need to make sure we fill them out properly. And as we go further into the series, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Right, so check 5, all equipment requiring ordering oil samples will be enrolled in AOAP program, right? So things to verify, like I said, are all components enrolled? Is there a master listing on file? Does GCSS-Army reflect AOAP equipment? And what I mean by that is if you look on your equip SIP, you may look all the way to the right and it does not say if it's enrolled in AOAP. If it's an ERP or A, if it's alert dispatchable things, you may have to add AOAP there. So AOAP email and point of contact, you can email the lab to get the equipment listing and what is required in AOAP. And right here is the email that you can use. And basically, you want to email and give me your UIC or your battalion or UIC, and they will pull what is actually required to be in the Army Oil Analysis Program. Check 6, ensure units act on recommendations, right? So things are verified. Did the unit follow recommendations received on the DA Form 3254R from the lab, or samples resubmitted if needed? So when we talk about when samples were resubmitted if needed, are we doing the GCSS-Army transaction? Are we actually doing the notification for a resample, right? So there's certain things we must do for checks and balances. So basically, here's one for your abnormal feedback, right? So analysis finding, coolant. Do not change oil until problem is corrected, right? Contact appropriate level of maintenance. Additional marks, the equipment will fail due to non-compliant AOAP recommendation followed, right? So it's going to tell you, you know. And then when you look at block 14, it must be completed by us, the maintenance section, right? So what do we do based off of the recommendations from the lab? So we need to make sure that we actually fill it out properly. So check 7, the completed lower portion of the DA form will be used to explain any diagnostics performed, discrepancies found, and actions taken to return the component to a searchable condition. So one thing that I like to do, which I hope everyone else is doing, but when we do submit a AOAP oil sample and it comes back, abnormal, we immediately administratively deadline that vehicle until we correct whatever deficiency or recommendation that the oil lab actually has, right? So things to verify: is the portion checked? Did the unit take actions? And if so, what actions did they take? So here is an example again, like I said, of just the 5990 of what's normal and what feedback. And like I said, block 14 in red must be completed by maintenance. So I hope y'all enjoyed this part of the series. Like I said, the AOAP program is not too hard to manage. It's just takes a little bit of time to actually get it in the swing of things and to go from there. So we're going to go and start our new part 3 of our series in the near future. But I hope these videos are helpful. Continue to reach out to me if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, go Ordnance.